This is a mindfulness exercise called No Problem to Solve. What often occurs within our own thinking process is we have unconsciously developed a sense of self that is entirely identified with thinking about and then attempting to solve an endless amount of problems. I call this part of us the problem solver. And this becomes such a deeply entrenched belief, this sense of self as the problem solver, that we think it is the very essence of who we are. But it is not who we are. It is just a part of who we are. A very important part, yet still only a part, but definitely not the whole. We will call this our thinking self. This problem solver that seems to live inside of our heads, this is the you that you probably think of as you. This thinking and problem-solving self. It is always present, looking out at the world from behind your eyes. We all have this problem-solving thinking self, and there are many times that it is very helpful, especially when the problem that it's attempting to solve is both solvable and directly in front of us in the moment. The problem solver becomes a problem because its only function is problem solving. It doesn't know the difference between a solvable or unsolvable problem. And it also doesn't know if the problem is real and present or only imagined or in the future. When dwelling on an unsolvable or unactionable problem, the problem solver remains engaged. And the longer the problem solver is engaged without solving the problem, which it can't, we very soon begin to experience first anxiety, then depression. It is up to you to develop the wisdom to know the difference between a solvable and unsolvable problem, and whether or not the problem is occurring in the present moment, or is a future scenario that may or may not ever even happen. What most of us don't realize is that we can disengage the problem solver during those times when the problems are not present and actionable. And the immediate impact is a marked decrease in a sense of anxiety and depression, and more of an experience of peace, tranquility, and serenity. There is good news, because every single one of us, at any given moment, can consciously disengage the problem solver and just allow it to relax in any given moment, especially when its services are not needed or helpful. And in doing so, it's not as though our personality goes away, and it's not as though our functioning goes away, and it's not as though our body and our humanity goes away. But what does go away is the part of you that worries and obsesses and creates anxiety or depression. This is a sense of ourselves that we tend to automatically think of as ourselves. It is created out of a looping thought pattern and creates a sense of a separate self that feels like it needs to go out and get things or do something or fix something or someone, and that we must do as it commands. If we try to negotiate with it, it only gets louder, and resisting it feels more and more overwhelming. But what we are dealing with is just a looping pattern of thought, and thought has no material substance. It is just a figment that has no force and no physicality, so it can do no actual harm. So let's try this simple practice, and you'll just see for yourself once we get going. This problem solver, it's constantly commentating on our issues, constantly chattering, constantly filling our minds with all sorts of terrible what-if future scenarios. So let me ask you this question, and you'll use your awareness to look within to see what shows up. What if right now, in this exact moment in time, wherever you may be listening to this recording, there are no problems to solve? Notice that I am not suggesting that there are no problems in your life right now. This is not a mind trick to convince you that everything is perfect and there are no ongoing problems and troubles in life. It's just to say that in this very moment, while listening to this recording, there are no direct problems that require you to solve them immediately. That right here and right now, everything is okay in your world. See if you can connect with this thought and see what shows up in your general experience. If in this time your analytical thinking self poses the question, do I have problems in my life? Your problem-solving mind will list several things off, and you will probably notice a surge of anxiety and angst. So the idea is not to pose a question, rather to just connect with this statement. Right here and right now, there is no problem that I need to solve. Then notice what you experience. Just notice what changes in your direct experience when there's nowhere that you need to go, and nothing that you need to do. No issue that you have to resolve or wonder about. What is here now? What are you more aware of? Just see if you can get a sense of both what goes away when you let go, and then notice the qualities that show up. See who's here when there's no problem to solve. It's not just the absence of the self, but it's the presence of this new awareness. An awareness-based sense of seeing and being. As this foundation of being is intentionally and immediately revealing the fundamental truth that what is here now is the real you. As you go about your day, see if you can bring more awareness to how much of your thinking is through this problem-solving self, and acknowledge that this problem solver isn't who you are, but only a function occurring within your mind. And when you notice yourself engaged with problem-solving thoughts, see if you can notice the energy and tone of emotion within your body, and see how that changes when you determine that the problem that you are dwelling on is not immediately solvable, or not in your present experience, or not actionable in the here and now, and then consciously disengage the problem solver. Not through more thinking, but by shifting your attention onto your direct experience and the present moment, where there is no problem that needs to be solved, and you are therefore free from worry and able to connect to a sense of serenity, gratitude, and appreciation for all of life's blessings.